This is the Final Word Women's World Cup Daily 2025. It is day three. I've forgotten already because as soon as these tournaments start, they really, really start. Geoff Lemon with you for this show, which is brought to you by Lacuna Sports, the specific women's and girls cricket wear company that we've been talking about, or will be talking about through the tournament. And I'm very happy to welcome for the first time to be a host of the show, Firdose Moonda. Hello.
Hello. I'm so happy to be on. It's lovely to see you, Geoff, and lovely to be a part of this. I love the Women's World Cup, one of my favorite tournaments. So really excited to talk about it.
All right. Well, the first thing we have to do, and this may be a baptism of fire, but I'm going to ask you to do it anyway, is can you tell me about the game in the space of 30 seconds?
Are you timing me?
I am. I mean, I won't. I may not tell you what the number is, but we'll give it a go. Let's try.
Okay, I can. So Bangladesh and Pakistan met in the first of 11 group matches to be played in Colombo. Pakistan decided to bat first. Murafa Akter got 2 wickets in the first over, and Pakistan were in some serious trouble. They needed a little bit of a recovery, and they got a slight one thanks to Ramin Shamim and Fatima Sana, but 129 all out was a really dreadful score. They didn't even bat 40 overs, 38.3. They were all out. And Shona Akhtar picked up career best figures of 3 for 5. And then Bangladesh made really hard work of the chase, but Rubia Haider got a half century on debut, not just World Cup debut, and she pretty much won them the game. How'd I do?
I think that's good. I think that was 32, maybe. I reckon we were pretty much on the money there. So good work on your first time. Successful debuts. That's the theme of the day. But I mean, the story of the day: Bangladesh, Tigerland. They're not just away. I was hoping they'd be top of the table because their net run rate would have been so boosted. But Australia, given the way they tailed up New Zealand last night, are slightly ahead. But Bangladesh are second on the table. They're at like plus 1.6 on their net run rate. This is the big one, really. If you're Bangladesh, your big historical rival is probably Pakistan more than India. India are the big dogs in the region, but there's such history between those countries as well, between Pakistan and Bangladesh. And they've struggled to beat Bangladesh much in the past. They've done it. Well, there was one relatively recently, but to be able to turn up in a World Cup and to do it today, and I will be honest with you, Firdose, I did not think they were going to do it. Even when they bowled out Pakistan for 129, I thought the problems with Bangladesh, it's always the batting, and it's always coming out and getting panicky and forgetting to score. And Fargana Hoque comes out opening and makes 2 off 17 balls. And then, Shaman Akhtar comes out at number 3 and ends up with 10 off 30. And I'm thinking, you're just going to Bangladesh this. Like, you'll just not score for about 15 overs, and then suddenly people will panic and they'll start getting out. And that didn't happen because Rubia Haider and Jyoti, the captain and the keeper, went, you know what? It's not that hard. We're just going to start hitting some boundaries. And in the end, they strolled home.
Yeah, I think also, Geoff, the other thing that Bangladesh and Pakistan have met each other quite recently in the World Cup qualifiers in April. And that was where I had a slightly different opinion to you. I thought Bangladesh would cruise through those qualifiers unbeaten because they only just missed out on automatic qualification for the World Cup. And I thought they're actually going to cruise through this. And in the end, it was them who lost a game, and they lost a game to Pakistan. So I was a little bit like, oh, maybe they're not as strong as I thought they were. And I think they put in a really good performance today. I've seen such improvement in this Bangladesh side from the last World Cup, which was the first time they appeared in a World Cup. And then also I've watched them through the T20 World Cups. And some of their players are just looking so much fitter and stronger and more ready and up for it than I've ever seen before. And I think they've got the makings of a really, really good side. So they have beaten Pakistan. It's the only team they've ever beaten at a World Cup, and now they've beaten them again. So they've got 2 wins over Pakistan in a World Cup. And Pakistan are wretched. 3 out of 31 World Cup wins, 1 in their last 22 matches. I mean, I don't actually know if they can beat another team at this tournament, but I was talking them up beforehand because they don't have to go anywhere. They're just going to chill in Colombo for 5 weeks.
True.
They should beat someone. But I don't think they will.
Yeah, I mean, there should be a point of advantage where you go, everyone has to come to our place. Yeah. We don't have to go to anyone else's place to party. Even Sri Lanka get most of the games in Colombo, but they had to go to India to play India. So, there was at least a little bit of travel at the start of the game. But so Pakistan have this baked in advantage, but having the cattle to actually be able to take advantage of it is something else. The rise with Bangladesh to me seems like it coincides with Murafa Akter emerging into the team. I remember watching her when Australia went over there a couple of years ago. Now she's still only 20. She's a baby, but she's so good to watch. She's so lithe, the way she runs. There's this fluidity to her movement, and she said in her post-match interview, "I'm the best fielder in the team," and well, she is clearly. But the way that she runs into bowl as well, so you see her moving in the deep, and the way she came in to take that excellent catch that she held into. That she held on to later in the innings, but the way that she starts at the top, it was so impressive. So she's bowling to the left-hander first, and she's getting so much swing. You can see the ball just hooping away, starting too wide. Then she gets to bowl to a right-hander and immediately gets it on line, swings it in, knocks over 2 in 2 balls, Omaima Sahil and Sidra Amin both out for Golden Ducks. And Pakistan were rocked that early in the innings.
Yeah, Murafa is such an interesting one because what I remember of her was seeing her at the 2023 T20 World Cup when she was quite scrawny, but she still had all these attributes, the ability to swing the ball. She also bowls pretty quickly. I think at the time it was probably around the 100, 102, and now it's up to between 108 to 111, which is, pushing maybe 120 will be in her future. As you say, she's only 20, but she looks a lot bigger and stronger. And she kind of jokingly towards the end of the game did a bit of a bicep flex and then did it again in the post-match presentation saying, look at my muscles. But I don't think it's such a joke. She really looks like she's been spending time doing a lot of gym work. Bangladesh haven't played any ODIs between the World Cup qualifiers and now. And just before the game, Nigar Sultana Jyoti said, what we've actually been doing is being in camps and being training really hard. And I thought, everybody says that. But they actually look like they've been training really hard. They were very good in the field. You mentioned Marufa's catch, but there was also an occasion where she saved 4 on the boundary at deep mid-wicket. And, that was the kind of save that you think, I don't know that she'll be able to pull that off. But she slid in so nicely. She runs really fast. And I think she's got all the makings of a great athlete. And so they can feel confident. They're going in with just the one seamer. And I think with that attack, they can feel confident to go one seamer, 5 spinners, get the job done.
Yeah, the spin options, there are always so many. And Nahida Akhtar is kind of the counterpoint to Murafa. It feels like Nahida's been around forever. She's such a reliable purveyor of spin. So she picks up a couple of wickets out of those. After those first 2 fall, she gets the next couple in the way that you'd expect, a bit of loop and getting one cut away to backward point. And then having, doing, it was Ramim Shamim, wasn't it, in the flight and having the ball hit back to her. So she got Munibur Ali, the left-handed opener, out, caught at backward point. And, she's someone that Pakistan rely on a lot. So she makes those important inroads where you've got a couple of players who've got settled. They've made a start, 17 and 23 respectively. She's able to winkle them out. And then there's that catch that Murafa Akter took coming in from long on, running around a lot of distance to make up, and that gets rid of Ali Arias. So at that point, they're 5 down for 67 and in real trouble. And Bangladesh were able to finish the job. There was that clinical element of keeping the squeeze on. They reviewed really well. There were a bunch of LBWs that were incorrectly given, that were quite tight ones with like possible inside edges where the ball was just sneaking past, or decisions where it might have been pad first rather than bat, that sort of thing. They worked the review system well, and in the end were able to keep that score to 129.
I have to just mention the 9th wicket to fall, which was Nashra Sandhu, who was sort of like leaving the ball. And then as she brought the bat back down, she ended up hitting her own stump. So the second player in Women's World Cup history to be out hit wicket. And that was Shauna Akhter's second wicket. And then she went on to also get the wicket of Sadia Iqbal, who really was doing a good job just blocking at the one end and letting Diana Baig hit some big shots on the other. Then decided, I'll have a go too. Sadia Iqbal, I don't know why she decided to play a shot like that. Then she was caught at mid-on, and that was the end of the innings, giving Shauna Akhter that 3 for 5. But hit wicket is something I haven't seen for a while. So, and I haven't seen it in that fashion, leaving the ball and then kind of bringing the bat back down. So I enjoyed that moment.
There'll be more on that in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, it was an odd one. It was like she was sort of shaping to late cut or something, and then decided not to play it, and then brought brought the bat back and just nudged her own bails off. And Jyoti was very much on to that, even though the batter didn't seem to realise what had happened. So 2 for 31 for Murafa Akter in the end in that innings, 2 for 19 for Nahida, the spinner, and then, that 3 for 5 for the leg spinner, Shauna. We've got a lot of Aktars in this team, so it can get a little bit confusing as to who's belonging to who. And then, like I say, the Bangladesh start that was dreadful, I just thought, 129 can quite easily be enough historically against Bangladesh sides if they don't start well. But there was a point of the dam breaking. I mean, they got to the 10 over mark. They were 2 for 30-ish, 36 maybe.
31,
going along pretty slowly at that point. 30, it was not much, put it that way.
23,
and then
in fact.
There's that point. Oh, okay. Sorry, it was 12 overs, 2 for 30 after 12, I think. Anyway, you've got Jyoti, the captain, who's been such a driver. Like she has such a positive attitude, and she's, I think, the most important part of this team, the most important part of the engine that has got them a bit of momentum in the last couple of years. And she comes out, she hits one boundary, and that was sort of enough. And then in the next over, she hits 3. And that sort of woke up, Rubia Haider at that point was taking her lead from the players around her who'd just been blocking everything out. They're senior players, they're more experienced. And so she was going along with that. And then she goes, 3 fours in an over, is it? Okay, well, I can do that. And did the same. And then suddenly it turned, abruptly Rubia Haider's on like close to 40. And Bangladesh are getting up to 70, 80. And it's like, even if there is a collapse here, they'll probably be able to get over the line from this point. And the last part was relatively calm. I mean, Jyoti did get out, but by that stage, it felt like that didn't really matter. They were close enough. They were within about 30 runs of the win. And Sabana Mostari came out and played really well, 24 off 19, and looked breezy. But I think because the players before that had set it up for her to be able to feel that way and play that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know we're very critical of Bangladesh's go slow at the beginning, and there were times when it allowed me to do other things like watch Zimbabwe qualify for the T20 World Cup, which I gotta say, because it's my other team, I'm a true African, and that made me very happy. But I want to also just take note of the way that Fatima Sana and Diana Baig opened the bowling, because I think they were really, really good, really clinical, excellent lines and lengths. They do things slightly differently. Diana Baig's a little bit quicker. So looking at her pace, she was up in the 110s, 112, 13, around about there. And she looks really good. She's battled so many injuries. It was a hamstring at the T20 World Cup. She bowled one ball in Dubai last year and went off with that hamstring injury. But she looks really good and really fit. And Fatima Sana bowled with such heart. She had to wait right until the end to get the wicket of Jyoti when Diana Baig took the catch, actually. But I really think that they've got a nice opening combination there. They didn't have a lot of runs to work with, so it's hard to say what they could have done. But keeping Bangladesh to 23 in 10 overs, getting the early wicket, there is movement around, as we saw. I don't know if that's to do with the extreme heat. Apparently, Colombo was really, really hot today. Doesn't sound hot, 32 to 27 degrees daytime to nighttime. Very humid, and we just saw face cloths being used, towels on the field, the players dripping. And I think to see the movement that those two got bodes potentially quite well for Pakistan, because they're going to stay in Colombo. They're going to be able to take advantage of those conditions as the tournament goes on. But then they'll also need someone to score more runs.
I think we are creeping up towards the Hall of Fame. Before I do that, I'm going to mention Lacuna Sports, because we're very, very happy to have them involved. The slogan is "Focus on your game. Lacuna has your kit covered." The important part is that women and girls playing cricket traditionally have had to use men's kit and boys' kit and just make do, and it doesn't fit properly, and it's not fit for purpose, and there are particular adaptations that you need if you're a woman or a teenage girl, particularly playing sport, that boys don't have to worry about, and none of these things were being taken care of. The name Lacuna means a gap, a bit that's missing. And there was that gap in the market, and they decided to try to close that up. So there are studies suggesting that up to 70% of teenage girls drop out of sport at that age and don't continue playing into adulthood. And one of the reasons is the difficulties and sometimes the embarrassment of not having the right kit that accommodates the needs that you have, particularly as a teenage girl when you're figuring out how to move into that stage of your life.
Yeah, it's such a great thing that we're talking about this today, because these two teams, Pakistan and Bangladesh, are two such wonderful examples of what happens when women and girls feel comfortable and have access to sport. And I say this having interviewed two of their players just before the World Cup. Jyoti is the one and Fatima Sana is the other. So the two captains, both of whom had very supportive parents in cultures where you don't have very supportive parents generally for young women to play sport. And one of the things was clothing that they both mentioned to me, is that people in their communities didn't approve of the kinds of clothing that women and girls had to wear in order to play sport. And so I think having, we've seen it so much in football with especially the Moroccan women's football team, women who are comfortable going out in their hijab and playing, women who are comfortable wearing leggings under shorts and playing. Those are the kinds of things we need. It's 2025, Geoff, and I was growing up in the 2000s. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that. But I know that if I had had examples of women who were playing sport who looked like me, I might have considered playing to a much further degree. And I say that a lot because I really mean it. We need to be able to see what's possible. So yeah, I think it's a really great day to be talking about this. And for two teams who come from cultures like Bangladesh and Pakistan to be out there on a world stage showing young women from their countries what's possible is magnificent.
It's a complicated world, and it's nice when you have people who are trying to find solutions to those complications. So lacunasports.co.uk, you can go and check out the work that they do. We will be back with the Hall of Fame in a second. It's the Final Word Daily, the Women's World Cup 2025 Daily, Firdose Moonda and Geoff Lemon. Now, Hall of Fame, something that caught your eye. It didn't have to be the greatest moments of play on the field. It could be something else. It could be something that you found amusing. I'm going to throw one out there to begin with, which was, you talked about the hit wicket, it's always slightly entertaining when someone chops their own stumps over, but Diana Baig's face at the other end when Nasra Sandhu hit her own wicket, the absolute disgust, because Diana Baig was trying her best. She was trying to hit a few boundaries here and there. And I don't know how to describe this so it works in audio. She was horrified. She sort of pulled her mouth back and then just rolled her eyes so hard that they almost went back into her skull. And, there was one more wicket to come. She's batting with the 11, but she was so unimpressed. And if Nasra Sandhu felt stupid when she did that, she's going to feel even worse if she sees the replay of Diana's face.
Yeah, not the best face. Since we're on what we're seeing or what we're noticing people look like, the one that struck me was in the 11th over of the Pakistan innings when Muniba Ali and Ramin Shameen were batting together, and Fahima was bowling, because all three of the people involved in the action were wearing glasses. And as somebody who is extremely blind but hides it with my contact lenses, I thought that was quite a cool moment. And I wonder, have we ever had everybody involved in play wearing glasses before?
I love that. I, as someone who's also extremely blind and goes the opposite way and gets the biggest glasses I can find, because you might as well just lean in and accept that that's the way it is. Yeah, there's always a slight sense of ownership and enjoyment when you see a bespectacled player, when you have your, Chris Rogers out there, or Anil Kumble used to do it sometimes, didn't he? But all three, I mean, it's rare you get a bowler in specs. Abrar Ahmed bowls in specs sometimes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But generally for, you might have the odd bowler in sunglasses, Jeffrey Van der Say Industries kind of thing. But bowling and two batting, yeah, I can't remember one. If anybody can, do let us know. Find a method to get in touch and tell us what went on. The other bit about faces, the opposite, I suppose, of the Diana Baig face was the Shauna Akhter face, because she was the bowler. So she got that wicket, but also her face, the previous one, the one that was caught behind, where she bowled a fairly short ball outside the off stump, and it ended up being top edge. It was Pervez, wasn't it, who edged that into Jyoti's gloves. And Shauna Akhter she just lit up like a Christmas lantern. She was so, there was such radiance coming out of that face. It was impossible not to smile along.
No, and since you've mentioned her, my other pick is her first 3 overs and the bowling analysis from the first 3 overs. So how does this sound? 3 overs, 3 maidens, no runs, 2 wickets.
I mean, yeah, you'll take it, particularly as a leg spinner coming on in a limited overs game. So, yeah, extraordinary there. And like you said, the Rubia Haider a bit ODI debut, not just World Cup debut, making a half century unbeaten to get her side home in a chase. I mean, they haven't won a lot of matches against top line opposition. So to come in and get a win in your first game is extraordinary. Murafa Akter becoming the youngest World Cup player, 17 years and 105 days, if you're writing that down in your almanac. And I don't know, anything else that caught your eye in this game?
Yeah, Diana Baig's opening spell, 5 overs, 3 maidens, 2 runs for a wicket. I mean, I just think, she's been really good, and I think she'll be very important for Pakistan. So that definitely caught my eye as well. And I think we're going to want to watch her as the tournament goes on.
Yeah, and if you read that out, it goes 5-3-2-4-1, which means that whoever's doing the rocket launch has got things slightly mixed up, but they got there in the end. All right, that is us. I think that has been the Final Word World Cup Daily. Thank you, Firdose Moonda, for joining us. You'll be with us at other times throughout the tournament as well. I'm Geoff Lemon. Thanks to Lacuna Sports. Check them out. And if you want to help us make the show, please go to patreon.com/thefinalword. That's it. We'll see you for day 4.